Microsoft just announced a price increase across a majority of its Xbox product lines, and to say that the internet is big mad about that would be an understatement. That price increase now means that the Series X, and specifically the Series X Galaxy Black Edition, is in a very unique position to be compared to the likes of the relatively new PS5 Pro. Yup, you heard that right. Surprising? Well, I also didn't expect to make this video, so we're both in for a treat. Anyway, if you're a gamer on the fence between the two consoles, which, by the way, right now is such a weird time to get into this generation, but if you are, this video just might help you make the right choice. Welcome to gaming in 2025. This is the Xbox Series X Galaxy Black Edition versus the PS5 Pro. You're watching Gaming Gadgets, and if you enjoy this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, and if you're new here and want to see more videos like this, subscribing really helps the channel. I'm actually on a mission to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I can't do it without your help. And with that, let's get to the video. So before we jump into all the details, I'm going to be doing things a little differently in this video. I'm incorporating a rating system for the first time in Gaming Gadgets history. There's a quantifiable rating system that we're going to attach to this, and let's just see how it goes. We're going to be looking at 5 different categories, including price, specs, exclusives, accessories, and ecosystem, and each category will get a rating from 1 to 5, with 5 being the best. So some of this will be based off of just cold hard facts, and of course some will be based off of my opinion. So by the end of the video, let's see how it turns out. So full disclosure, I've owned a PS5 and an Xbox Series X since they launched, and I actually held off on the PS5 Pro last year due to what seemed like honestly a nominal increase in performance over a standard PS5 for a big price jump in comparison. And if you saw my last video comparing the PS5 to the PS5 Pro jump to the old PS4 to PS4 Pro jump and whether it was worth buying, you know that I mentioned that the PS5 Pro is more of an enthusiast device and probably not for all gamers compared to the other consoles out there. Oh, and if you're thinking, well, why not just buy a regular PS5? I really can't fault you there, since it's now cheaper than even the standard Series X by $100. Sony still hasn't raised their prices. But the point of this video is to pitch the two top-of-the-range consoles from both companies against each other. The Xbox Series X Galaxy Edition and the PS5 Pro are the best from what both companies have to offer. When it launched back in November of 2020, the Xbox Series X was on paper a more powerful console than the PlayStation 5. It boasted a 12 teraflop GPU compared to the PS5's 10.28 teraflops, and it was just understood to be a powerhouse of a console. It launched with a $499 price tag, which was directly on par with the PS5 at launch, but due to recent economic conditions, Microsoft has decided to raise the base price of the Series X up by $100, all the way to $599 now in the US, and the Galaxy Black Special Edition, which launched in October of 2024 for $599, has the same internals and performance as the Series X. It's now $729, so it's up $130 from its launch price. It also boasts a special color, which I guess is supposed to look like the stars in the galaxy in a dark night. I don't know. I'm more of a fan of the carbon black, but that's just me. So, Microsoft has never given the Series X a performance bump since it launched back in 2020, so the only real notable, we'll say, features on the Galaxy Black are that it comes with a disk drive and it also has a 2 terabyte hard drive. Now, for context, the 1 terabyte Seagate storage expansion Microsoft sells will run you about $150. So basically, buying the Galaxy Black Edition saves you about $20 if you don't want to get a memory card and put it into your regular Xbox. Just 4 years after the original PlayStation 5 was launched, Sony announced that a PlayStation 5 Pro was going to hit the market in November of 2024. And it came with a lot of hardware and software updates, including 45% faster rendering than the standard PS5 Pro. It had advanced ray tracing optimization, and its little party trick, PlayStation Super Spectral Resolution, or PSSR. And that leverages AI to fill in the gaps on graphics upscaling, and it's intended to really be one of the future ways forward in gaming graphics. The PS5 Pro launched with a $699 price tag in the US for a digital console, but there was about $110 or so in extras, including a $29 option for a vertical stand if you wanted to stand your PS5 Pro upright. And if you want to insert a disc, that's going to run you $79. So your hypothetical total is over $800. And there's also one wild card here that nobody can immediately predict, and that's whether Sony is going to do the hard thing or the easy thing, which would be the decision around raising prices. If they keep prices the same, honestly, I think that would be like a historic thing. But who knows? They may also fall victim to the price hikes, because we all know they have to make up for a lot of losses that they had last year, and yeah. Anyway, we know Sony likes their money, so we're going to keep the comparison as if they will not be raising prices, just to keep things interesting. Xbox has always had some of the best exclusives in the gaming industry. Games like Halo, MechAssault, Fable, Gears of War, and I can easily go on. These games made my childhood and early adulthood so much more exciting, and honestly, they really were some of the best gaming years. Up until semi-recent history, there were games that were considered console sellers. Just because a specific console had a certain game, it was sure to sell millions of units. But as of late, that has not really been the case, and Microsoft is contributing to that. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Xbox has a really solid lineup of games, especially with all of the different studios that they're buying up and the developers that they're buying up. But I think they had, up until, I'll just say 2024, some of the greatest true exclusives. But last year is when they started licensing out mainstream franchises like Forza and Indiana Jones into the PlayStation game library. And just in May 2025, at the time of this video's recording, they announced that Gears of War would also be coming to PlayStation. And on top of that, there's also rumors now that Halo might be coming to the PlayStation game library. And as a Halo fan, this makes me excited because it's one of my favorite franchises, and it's definitely going to bring some new life into the game. But from someone who wants to see a competitive market thrive with innovation, it makes me kind of sad. And don't get me started on Game Pass. More on that in a moment. Moral of the story here is Xbox is taking some major L's in the exclusive realms in favor of, well, money. Like, do you remember when only on Xbox or only on Xbox 360 just carried some weight? Like, when you saw that on the box, you knew this was an exclusive. But those days are slowly disappearing. I know this is supposed to be a point of comparison to see which is better, but honestly, in the exclusives realm, I feel like the conversation is more around who is worse, which I know that still means someone's better, but you get my point here. Sony used to easily have the most elite library of exclusives to graze this beautiful earth, and yes, I am comparing them in that statement to Nintendo as well. Think about the PlayStation 1 exclusives era at the launch of those games, right? So I know that some of them got relaunched into other consoles later, but at the launch, you had the Final Fantasy series, Metal Gear Solid, Gran Turismo, Resident Evil, Dino Crisis, Twisted Metal, Silent Hill, Crash Bandicoot, Tekken, Tomb Raider, Spyro. Dude, I'm getting pumped just thinking about this. I mean, nowadays, either those titles are no longer exclusives, or they just don't even exist anymore. But don't worry, we're about to see the 5th Last of Us remake, or Days Gone 2 remake, Final Edition VR. Yeah, Sony's really pumping out the ones that we want to see. So, remember when I said Gears of War would be coming to the PlayStation? Well, ironically, now the best way to play this once Xbox exclusive will be the PlayStation 5 Pro with its enhanced performance. Absolutely incredible. Talk about irony. And again, even though it's a good thing for gamers just to have more availability of these games, it just makes me sad that this move by Microsoft is just diluting the console gaming experience.
Everything else is child's play.
Look, you may not think about it immediately, but accessories are a big deal for any console. In some cases, an accessory can define a console generation. Sorry, Microsoft, but you remember the Xbox One Kinect?
We're bringing a new Kinect sensor paired with every Xbox One, which puts you at the center of your entertainment.
Anyway, let's talk about the key accessories that are a part of the Series X lineup. We'll focus on first-party accessories made by Microsoft since the world is a big place and there's a lot of third-party accessory makers. Starting with headsets. These are easily one of the most important accessories, and Microsoft, in my opinion, makes one of the most comfortable headsets on the market. And that is the wireless gaming headset, which they also make a wired one, but I think it's worth upgrading to the wireless. This headset used to be $99, but it has since increased to $119 with the other price hikes that Microsoft announced. So not only is this headset comfortable, but it's also packed with features like spatial audio, and it's got pretty decent voice isolation. Next is the special edition and professional level controllers Microsoft makes for the Xbox. Honestly, I really do like all the special editions that Microsoft has been doing. For example, I was such a sucker for the transparent controller they released in 2024, which they've now done multiple colors, but I immediately went and bought one and I still use it. But I only use it on occasion. And why do I only use it on occasion? Well, because the primary controller I use with my Series X is the Elite Series 2 controller. And this is Microsoft's professional level controller with the first gen Elite releasing when the Xbox One was still out. And I think overall they did a really good job on the second generation, and it has quite a bit of customization, a higher quality finish, and a built-in rechargeable battery which gives a whopping 40 hours of battery life. And believe it or not, this controller is actually about 5 years old now because it released in November 4th, 2019. In fact, before the Xbox Series X was even announced. And last but not least, I consider a memory card an accessory as well, and the Xbox Series X has the closest thing to a modern day memory card with its first party licensed Seagate expansion cards ranging from 512 gigabytes to 2 terabytes, and none of them are really cheap. The 512 is $90, the mid-range 1 terabyte option will run you $150, and the 2 terabyte option goes for $280, which is pretty wild to me. Although I think Nintendo is probably the king of accessories for their consoles over the years, Sony has also had some great offerings for the PlayStation lineup. And the PS5 doesn't have any outlandish offerings this generation, but they do have a solid base of accessories. If we talk about headsets in the world of PlayStation, the Pulse headset with 3D audio is a really great option for only $100, and the Pulse Elite, if you want to step it up a notch, goes for $150, which I think takes the cake here with its 3D audio and noise canceling features. There's also an earbud option with the Pulse Explorer earbuds for $200 if you want a smaller and more portable form factor. A bit pricey though. And regarding controllers, I think that the DualSense controller at $70 is the best standard first-party controller of this generation with its haptic feedback and general comfort while using it. However, the DualSense Edge at $200 takes this to the next level with adjustable trigger sensitivity, removable and replaceable joysticks, and customizable buttons on the back. The entire package has an incredibly luxurious feel to it, and I did a video, basically a long-term review on it here, but the only downside I think with this controller is the battery life, which if you're lucky, you'll get a little over 4 hours in one sitting. And oh, by the way, if you have the Pulse Elite headset, you can also adjust in-game volume from the controller. I don't know if this works with the Pulse Explorer earbuds, but I'd imagine they do, especially at that price range. And an honorable mention to anyone who is tired of plugging their controller into a USB cable is to get the charging station that Sony offers. It's only $29 and it is a massive convenience option if you just want to put your controller onto an easily placeable charging station.
How about a different game, homeboy? Well, anyway, one of us suggested playing a different game.
Bring it on, Dark Gas Passer.
I thought a team game might be fun, and that some friends that I met online might want to play. You see, Xbox Live has this Optimatch feature, lets you easily find players all over the country who like the same games and levels.
Built on the shoulders of Xbox Live, and probably the thing you've been wanting me to get to the most here as it pertains to Xbox, this single piece of Xbox's ecosystem could easily, and probably has, won over millions of gamers from the PS5 ecosystem. And quite simply, that is Game Pass. And specifically, Game Pass Ultimate. For $20 a month, gamers have access to a massive library of modern and classic games, as well as many Xbox Day 1 releases. For example, this past month, I've gotten about $190 of value out of Game Pass and only paid my monthly $20 fee. Well, how did I do that? Oblivion, Expedition 33, and Doom Dark Ages would equate to about $190 if I went and individually bought them at the store. All that was made immediately available to me on day one. I didn't have to leave my home, and I just had to download it to my console via Game Pass. It's really hard to deny this service. It truly kicks ass. But the only downside is that the inevitable is going to happen, and that is prices for this subscription will have to go up. It's, again, inevitable. So on Game Pass, some games do have a shelf life to some extent, and it's kind of a revolving door as games come and go off the service, kind of like Netflix. And there are, of course, questions to be asked about whether having such an abundant source of games is actually good for the player, or is it just too much of an overload of option, which dilutes the gaming experience once again. You know, I mean, sometimes I look at Game Pass, I see hundreds of games, and I'm like, I don't know which one of these I even want to play right now. Perhaps a video for another time, but on paper, Game Pass truly is, as advertised, the best deal in gaming. And with the power of Game Pass on things that are not your physical Xbox console, Microsoft has been pushing this narrative that anything can be turned into an Xbox. Specifically, it advertises that you can basically put Game Pass on almost all devices and they can become a de facto Xbox. Your phone, your PC, a Meta Quest VR headset, your handheld PC, they can all stream games off of Game Pass, so this ecosystem runs deep, and their main goal is to give it to as many people as they possibly can. PlayStation Network has been a bit of a lagger, in my opinion. Ever since it was stood up to compete against Microsoft's Xbox Live, I remember not even subscribing to PSN on my PlayStation 3 because I was just so embedded into Xbox Live with my Xbox 360. And I was like, what? Why would I pay to play online on my PS3 as well? I have Halo and Call of Duty right here. There's no reason why I should even do anything on the PS3. Well, times have changed, and PlayStation has offered their own variant of Game Pass via the PlayStation Plus Premium membership. This is about $160 a year, and it gives access to a classics library, monthly free games, and a modern list of games you can download and play immediately. It's nowhere near as vast as Game Pass, nor does it offer any day one release benefits, but it's a fun way to play some old time capsule games, and it seems to work great. And if you have a PlayStation Portal, I highly recommend PlayStation Plus Premium because on top of Remote Play, you get access to the cloud streaming catalog, and it is very much worth it. Okay, now you officially have a matchup of these two consoles, so let's bust out the rating system and see who won. Well, here it is, the official GaminGadgets rating system. I've got to give the PlayStation 5 Pro the W on price. Even though I gave it a hard time when it first came out, I think especially with the price increases that Microsoft has announced for all of the Xbox lines, the PS5 Pro is a much better value proposition now. And because of that, it also wins in specs because, I mean, the Xbox Series X was the most powerful console, but the PS5 Pro easily dethroned it, not only from a hardware perspective, but with software as well. And again, like I said, it kind of now justifies the price even a little bit more. As far as exclusives, again, no real winner here because they're really diluting the whole concept of exclusives, and maybe this is not even going to be a thing in the next couple years. But for the time being, just because of the game studios that Microsoft owns, I still think that Xbox wins out on this one. There's still a couple true exclusives that haven't been offered cross-platform, so we'll see how that goes. The PS5 Pro wins on accessories. I mean, I think they've got a pretty solid offering. I didn't even talk about the PSVR 2 or the PlayStation Portal much, but the bottom line is Microsoft is so slow at producing good accessories. I mean, they've got like a 5-year-old Pro controller, and then their headsets haven't really changed much in the past couple years. I mean, they're pretty stale right now. As far as ecosystem is concerned, I mean, it's really a no-brainer here. Because of Game Pass, the Xbox wins out here. And I mean, it's a little bit of a oxymoron too, because I mean, you technically don't need a console to get the most value out of Game Pass. You can turn anything into an Xbox apparently. So I still think from an ecosystem perspective that, you know, the Xbox wins out here because PlayStation Plus has a little bit more time to mature there. But overall, I gotta give the win to the PS5 Pro. Honestly, I'd been holding out on one, and I mean, just thinking about where it stands now and before the price potentially goes up there too, it might actually be worth going and getting one. So what do you guys think? Are you still Team Xbox or Team PlayStation? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video and want to see something similar between the Xbox Series S and the PS5 digital, let me know. I like doing these versus videos and want to keep doing it on this channel. I think it's pretty fun. Did you like the rating system, and do you think it was fair? Am I asking too many questions? Either way, just any feedback I really appreciate, and if you made it this far, well, I really appreciate you and your feedback. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now would be a great time to hit that little subscribe button, as it really helps the channel grow. Thanks for all the support, and until next time, peace!